Okay. Welcome to G Woman Talks Live January edition. And yes, we are redefining resilience, the G Woman's power in adversity. My name is Alex Okoroji. I am host of G Woman Talks Live, and yes, founder G Woman Media. And of course, this panel live broadcast is brought to you by the G Woman Collective for the genius, gifted, game changing women. And I'm so honored to have three amazing, gifted, genius, game changing women joining me here for our first ever edition of G1 Talks Live. Yay! I'm very excited. Okay, so what if the toughest moments in life aren't meant to break you, but to build you into an unbreakable force? Today's Human Talk Live unveils the extraordinary power that women possess to not just survive adversity, but to transform it into their greatest strength. And I have with me here in studio, like I already mentioned, 3G women that I'd like to introduce to you. Dr. Alana Sharps, Dr. Aninda Sidhana, who's joining me from India. Of course, Dr. Alana is in the United States. And Dr. Tasha Reddy, who's joining us also from South Africa. So I will start with Dr. Alana Sharps, who I see just right beside me, on the screen, to just introduce yourself a little for those who don't know you.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Alana Sharps. I am the founder of Sir Thrive Tribe. I support people coming out of domestic abuse relationships who may have had their identity eroded and lost self-esteem, and they're in the process of rebuilding their lives.
Amazing. Okay, so let's talk. Dr. Aninda, would you just introduce yourself a little for those who don't know you?
I am basically Dr. Aninda Sidhana from India. I am a psychiatrist, but also a resident GBV survivor. And now who has decided not to be defined by her pain, but to turn it into the purpose and to become the voice for other women. And along with the three women who all are gifted game changers. So we are all here to change the game and engage men as allies and bring the things back to normal. So that I'm psychiatrist, psychosexual medicine specialist, and also have an app along with a wonderful founder, Ananya Grover, who is currently in San Francisco. She has gone for some health. This is a premenstrual, like women's mental health is important. So to track the symptoms.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for the work that you do. So I'm going to jump in quickly to Dr. Tasha Reddy. Just introduce yourself briefly for those who don't know you.
Hello from South Africa. This is Dr. Tasha Reddy. I am the founder of Widowed South Africa, Suddenly Single, Abandoned Child, and the I Am Group. I'm also the International Goodwill Global Ambassador and the GBV Ambassador. I'm a victim of GBV as well. So I work to make women, empower women to overcome trauma. I'm a trauma therapist and I help women to overcome, and men, to overcome trauma and depression and grief. So that's my main work. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm so honored that you asked me to be on the show. Thank you, Alex.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I just want to give a quick shout out to those who are joining us for this live broadcast already from the G Woman Collective. And of course, outside of our community, because we did share it. Now, this is going to be a monthly conversation, right? Each month we'll come up with a new theme, with a new group, new panel of G Women. Of course, we have conversations lying from wealth to our neurodiversity to leadership to business to everything that women care about. And so we're excited that every month, second Wednesday, we'll engage G Women Talks. And of course, you can be part of the conversation. So we're not going to leave you out. If you do have a comment, a question, anything, drop it in the comment section. And we'll pop it up on screen. And of course, make sure to carry you along with the conversation. So we're going to quickly start off by talking a little bit about redefining resilience. Now, resilience is often framed as bouncing back, right? Most times when we talk about resilience, it's from the sort of position of bouncing back. But that definition can sometimes feel incomplete, right? So how have you come to redefine resilience in your own life? And what does it look like when resilience is not just about endurance or enduring a particular situation, but about evolution, right? Transformation. So I'm going to start with Dr. Alana.
So I view resilience as overcoming many obstacles within your life. And by overcoming those obstacles, you're learning, you're growing, and you know how to deal with different situations that may be similar later in life. The evolution is you're stronger, you're empowered, and you know how to support others who may be going through a similar situation. Like all of the ladies on the panel today, we went through very similar situations, and now we have taken those circumstances and we are supporting others through their journeys.
Amazing, amazing. Dr. Sidhana, how would you define resilience?
Every woman is born and gifted with the resilience. And resilience is not about bouncing back, it is about bouncing forward. And of course, that best revenge is massive success. So every woman should have that motto in life. And along with that, every woman is genius by design. And if she chooses to own her story, she can be the game changer. So we are there. And yes, resilience, I believe I was born with a privilege, but privilege does not immune us from the pain and from the trauma of the life. And we cannot, human beings and human relationship can't be learned from textbooks. So life teaches us, and resilience is the way you rebuild your life and take the power back to yourself and not to give that power to anybody. And you can rebuild your life as many times as possible.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So, Dr. Tash, how would you define resilience just from your own experience?
Mhm. From my own experience, Alex, I don't think there's any trauma I haven't been through since childhood. And I found that in each circumstance, I had was made to believe a condition and those are the things I was searching for. And those are the things that when I was broken, had to find my why. And when I found my why, I found the reasons to continue and the strength. And I think that's where my resilience came from. So I had to use my inner voice to say, I am not broken. I am actually able. Have courage. I have strength. And it's my war cry that I share with everyone. I have courage. I have strength. I have resilience. I have power. I am all things possible. So it's something of a voice that's inside me that I try to transfer to everyone else, to believe that however you that you're not worth it, however much they try to break your spirit, you yourself own the power to rise from it. And you can rise from anything as long as you know why you are important, why you need to love yourself. And self-love is the most important thing. So I think that's my message, that love yourself and the universe will love you too. So nothing's impossible.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Love yourself. And you did mention something about strength, and I will come back to that. But just wanted to acknowledge the comment section. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. They say, hello, beautiful ladies. I'm just going to show this quickly. Hello, beautiful ladies. And then let me see. A wonderful, wonderful, the experts in the live talk. Hi, ladies. Swapna here from Kochi, India. And then, of course, Dr. Lisa. Let me see what Dr. Lisa says. What an outstanding panel of Chi women. Well, thank you. Thank you, ladies. And of course, let me see. Dr. Pauline says, what did she say? Believe in possibilities always, self-love, and honor human existence. Thank you for that, Dr. Pauline. Yes, we definitely believe in that. So there was something you mentioned, Dr. Tash, and I would just sort of peep the conversation. You mentioned strength. There's nothing you haven't experienced. And so this brings me to talk about vulnerability versus strength. Right? Because
Yes.
there is this there's this lingering belief that vulnerability is weakness, especially for women in leadership and women like us who are gifted, genius, game changing, who are doing all kinds of things. Because people think that you achieve the success or the influence or the impact that you're achieving right now without having going through or having overcome any type of obstacles, right? So how do you personally navigate vulnerability as a source of strength, rather than a liability? Like, how do we help women see that vulnerability is strength? It's not weakness. I will ask, let's keep it, let's go around. Let me, Dr. Alana, what do you think? How do we, how do we help women see that as a source of strength?
Vulnerability can be used as your driver for strength, right? It is something that can make you overcome the most difficult things in life. So I see it as a positive. There are a lot of situations where I've been very vulnerable, but I just dig deep down inside and say, I'm going to push through this. I make the mental intention to push through and do what I have to do to get through whatever situation that is.
Amazing. Our Dr. Aninda?
So, as a psychiatrist and also as a survivor, I always tell people that out of vulnerability comes the strength, and vulnerability is the true strength. And as a, it's our emotional capital, and that how we change it. If it's like sell the scar, not the pain. From our scars, we all are making inspiring others to bring the change and to giving the courage to other women, and that is the purity of being emotionally vulnerable. And it's not like if you cry, even like my dream anyways is, I always, every podcast, everywhere I say, my dream is to see a Times Square billboard that men can cry, and the day they will think that vulnerability is strength, things will change a lot. So that is not a weakness. And I shared my story of being through fertility struggles and all, just so to give courage to other women also, like to break the silence.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Dr. Tash, what do you think?
I think vulnerability is very important because it makes you human. It reminds you that you're human. And if I may, I just like to give you a précis version of things I've gone through in my life. So I've gone through three parental divorces in my life. I've come from what they call a broken home. I've gone through abuse as a child, immense trauma, widowed, mental illness. I was locked up put in a mental hospital. At 20, I've tried suicide many times. I was widowed at 29. I've had 7 miscarriages. I've had my spine reconstructed, 2 hip replacements, 32 major surgeries, half my stomach taken out, gallbladder, esophagus, colon. And in July, I had a quad heart bypass. 3 years ago, my husband left me for my best friend, demanded a paternity test. Family advocate, and I'm still going to court. I have court on Monday. Now, this is a lot of adversity, and I can tell you that there were moments where I really was so vulnerable that I thought I couldn't go on, and I realized that the moment you say you can't go on, you go back into an abyss of darkness and emotions that you cannot control because it overwhelms you. So the moment you say, I can, in your vulnerability, I can overcome this, I can grow through it. What are the possibilities I can create to overcome this? What are the possibilities waiting for me? What are the possibilities I have the power to form in my life, to make the life that I want to have, is when you, inside your soul, evolves and it rises, and that power comes into your vulnerability and gives you a strength that's in your vulnerability that you'd never have before. And it comes with understanding pain in everyone, pain in their eyes, pain in their heart, pain in their spirit. You are able to identify it because that vulnerability in you allows you to identify it because you've been through that pain. So I think it's incredibly important to have moments of vulnerability. It's incredibly important to be human and not believe that you have to be strong all the time. You don't. You need those moments of weakness to remind you of your strength.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I almost try not to have my mouth open, just from all of the you just listing some of the things that you've experienced, and all I kept saying is, how is she still smiling, right? How is she still smiling? But I know that this is not really unique to you, because women have been through
Mhm.
so much. We get to hear some of the
Mm.
stories that women have experienced. And just to think about that inner strength, I would be remiss to anyone who thinks that, women are weak, doesn't even understand the amount, the capacity, and the strength that women, the things that we have to deal with day to day that we don't even talk about. And I just want to
Mm.
quickly just highlight something in the comment section. Um, let me see. She said, Swapna says, I like the sound of emotional capital, and let me see. Dr. Lisa says, this really resonates. Vulnerability is something I struggle with, not because I don't value it, but because it takes time to feel safe enough to practice. And then let me see. Jen says, vulnerability takes courage and brings understanding, compassion, and allows others to be vulnerable. It's like a big sigh of relief when others truly see you. And I think that's really important, because for me, I've always felt like vulnerability it allows you to be transparent. And I've been through my own experience as well. I think my own journey as well has come from having dealt with my own obstacles that I had to overcome. And I started something called the naked philosophy, because the whole point of being naked was being vulnerable, open, transparent, and me being able to face the truth of the things that I had dealt with. So I think that we having this conversation is so important, because everyday women are overcoming obstacles. And I think that it's important that G women, right, gifted genius, game changing women, can sit together in conversation about the things that they have had to overcome, they've experienced, and also offer a safe space for women to feel like they can truly be themselves. So I'm going to quickly move on to talking about adversity. And again, Tash mentioned a list of some of the adversity that she's experienced, but I want to talk about adversity as a catalyst, right? As that sort of that defining moment, that begins where disruption, we, even though we didn't choose the disruption, right, we somehow used it to position
Right.
ourselves. So, can you share a specific adversity? Now, this could be personal, professional, or systemic, that initially felt like a setback, because it was, right? But ultimately became a turning point or a catalyst for your own growth. That particular, just one, and I know that we've all experienced different things, but that one that felt like a catalyst for you. I will start with Dr. Alana.
So for me, I was in an emotionally and verbally abusive marriage for 16 years. It impacted not only myself, it impacted my children as well. And by the time I escaped that marriage, I was completely emotionally and physically broken. I didn't know who I was. I had lost my identity in the marriage. So when I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't recognize the person staring back at me. And I also did not have very good memories, because when you're going through that situation, especially for years, your brain rewires. And so you are in survival mode, just trying to get through your day to day, and it impacts your memory, whether they're good memories or bad memories. So coming out of that, I had to completely rebuild. I had to rebuild myself mentally. I had to rebuild myself physically. And what I learned from that experience is I am stronger than I ever thought I was, because it is difficult to heal. It takes a lot of work to say, I want to be better. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, do whatever I have to do so that I can get me back. And that was really important to me. I wanted to get back to the person that I was before I got into that marriage. And it took a lot of work to get there. But I'm here today, and I am able to give my testimony and able to support others who are in the struggle.
Well, thank you. And you talked about the identity, like losing yourself in that situation, but also using that as an opportunity to create what you're doing right now, supporting and helping people. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, because sometimes people experience adversity and don't know how to pull themselves out of it, or are not able to find the strength to be able to use that as a sort of as a as a tipping point for them to, or as a catalyst, like we would say, for them to find that sort of next level of growth or transformation for themselves. So I'm going to quickly go on to Dr. Ninder. Can you think of one specific adversity that became a turning point for you?
Exact 3 points when I found the catalyst change in my life. Exactly three. The first was after my first divorce. That was the point where I thought, like, because my first husband was a psychiatrist and he always belittled me for not knowing mental health properly and not being educated enough, as he was a very intelligent guy. But I took it like I am going to flourish in psychiatry in my profession and make my father proud. So that was first point, and I did my psychosexual medicine fellowship, which very few women have done. And then second point, when the divorce happened, second marriage, I realized the moment I called my dad, I realized I am how gifted I am, that they didn't even think even a single second, and all my parachutes were ready to jump to support me, all my friends, and I always call it behen code or sister French. They all were ready to support me. And in the Iceland, in front of Northern Lights, when I went for solo trip, I realize that in front of the vast nature, I we are so small. And also they have a philosophy, peta redastra, they say whatever is, it will be. So they keep, because weather changes a lot. And third, the main catalyst was when I was systemic failure. System failed to give me justice despite having 40 photographs of abuse. I had to write down that it was a lie and there was no violence. And that is the biggest catalyst I have in my life, that no girl should suffer in silence, and I want to bring the change. And that change will come only if we engage men as allies, otherwise, it is not going to come.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and so much to unpack there. And I'm, of course, trying to see what's going on in the comment sections as well. And I will come back to something that you mentioned, Dr. Ninder. But Dr. Tash, what about you? Can you think of one specific adverse? I know you mentioned a heavy list, but where is that? Where's that? The one.
So
the one.
I don't. All right.
Go ahead.
A lot of the work I do comes from personal experiences and adversity, right? And that is how I help people. And I say, you know what, when I say that I know how you're feeling, I actually do, because I've been through it. But I'm going to share it can be sad, but some people will think it's funny, but I'm going to share a story with you. I was 20 years old when I was put into a psychiatric ward. And in South Africa, it is the hospital I was sent to is the worst psychiatric hospital you can go to. If you go in there, you are labeled for the rest of your life, right? So I was sitting with other patients one day, and I had psychology students come up to us. And they were doing research and they were interviewing us, and they said, "How are you feeling today? What made you become the way you are?" And I sat there and I looked at them, talking to us as if we were mute or disabled, we had some kind of dysfunction. Sorry, I used the wrong word, dysfunction. And it treated us as if we were not there and not human. And so I put my back up and I crossed my legs and I said, well, it depends on your definition of dysfunctional and what do you actually want to know. And they were very shocked at the fact that I was actually an intelligent woman who did not have to be spoken to like that because I was a mental patient. So, and a lot of times, because we are labeled mental cases and we are labeled for having emotional dysfunction and mental dysfunction, we are seen to, there's a stigma attached that we are not a part of the community and we don't deserve that right. And so we fall into a lesser bracket. And that prompted me to change that ethos and that belief that patients with mental instability and who have, I experienced patients who've been through the worst adversities that made them become emotionally unstable, that made them want to hurt themselves, that made them want to believe life wasn't worth living. And, you don't just throw those people away. You take their hand and walk with them. And you let them know that there's a power inside them and a fire inside them that will burn. And I have to let you all know this. The second time was when I was widowed at 29. I had an 18-month-old, and I was pregnant as well when my husband died. So the next week I had a miscarriage and I went into deep depression. And my little boy came to me and he said, "Mom, I need to go to the store." And I said, "Why do you need to go to the store?" And he said, "I need to buy a new mummy because this one is broken." And I promised him that I'd never be broken again. And that was another catalyst. But when my husband left me 3 years ago, my second husband, he refused to have anything to do with our daughter, and he refused to sign for a passport. He asked for a paternity test, and my little girl said to me, so we couldn't do anything. He held me hostage for 3 years, and today I have to say that me showing up, I managed to get her passport today after 3 years. But why? Because she told me, "Mommy, do I have to spend the rest of my life like this?" And I thought, no. And I said to her, "I promise you, you will get your life back." So she's 11 years old. And today she got her passport because her mommy decided that she will not be broken anymore, and she will not be a stigma, and she will not be a dysfunction in society, but rather take the step to change it. So what is usually thought of as impossible, I made possible today. So I want everyone to know that it's not just me who can do it. Everyone can do it. Everyone. Just take the step. Adversity is adversity, but there's so many opportunities to change it, to turn it around, to make it possible.
Thank you for sharing that, and congratulations to your daughter for getting her, her passport, and congratulations to you, Mommy, for just pulling through, pushing through, and just, like you said, helping her get her life back. And I think it's important to share these stories because, yes, we, as women who are building, creating, developing, connecting, growing, and doing a world of good, right? It's important to also share where we're coming from, because it helps other people to value the journey and not just the results, right? Okay, we did not just get here by accident. We've gotten here through a lot of the things that we've experienced, and I think that it's great that you share that story. And I think what came out for me, because you talked about just the prejudice, right, of mental health, right, and thinking that everyone who lands in a psychiatric ward is someone who's uneducated or there's a certain level of disorder, right? They can't communicate or they're not smart. Though people don't even realize that a lot of it is stuff that they didn't sign up for, right? Things that happened to them, right? As opposed to just them being deformed from birth or or any other situation like that. So I think it was just you sharing that story just sort of brought that into my mind. But I need to just jump into the chat as well, just so we're carrying along everyone who's joined us. And I want to thank the G Women Collective and our amazing G Women who are watching the broadcast and sharing and inviting more people. Don't forget, even if people miss this broadcast live, we're recorded and they can always come back to catch this, because it's important that they listen to this amazing panel of women. And of course, we intend to do this monthly, with different topics and themes, and of course, amazing G Women. So I'm just going to pop this on quickly. I think this is from Clara. She says, hearing other people's struggle and adversities can sometimes help you realize how blessed you are. I believe so. And then she says, the challenges are there, but the true victory lies in whether we can turn them around and make them a launch pad to future glory. And that's what our amazing G Women have done so far. So I'm also, let me see something popping up on my screen. There's a lot of comments. I'm just trying to just weave through the comments. Let's see, Dr. Lisa says, I appreciate the framing of adversity as a catalyst. It is rarely something we choose, but it often becomes the thing that sharpens purpose, and of course perspective. And then I'm just going to read this from the Matchmaker Mentor. I love how so many of us transform our pain into purpose. What we believe is a setback is often a setup for something better. We agree. We agree. This is for Dr. Tash. Let me see. Dr. Tash Reddy, that's quite a funny story, but at the same time, it humanizes your experience. Thank you for sharing that in such a memorable way. And then, yes, to Unbroken Women. Well done, Dr. Tash. Okay, so there's, a lot of what a beautiful lesson your daughter taught you, Dr. Tash. Okay, great. Thank you, women. And keep putting your questions. If you have questions or comments, any more in there, we'll definitely pop it up because we want to carry everyone along. And don't forget, G Women Talks Live is powered by the G Women Collective and G Women Media. And we're so excited to have our Gifted Genius Game Changing Women, the G Women, up here for today's January edition. Okay, so let's talk about the alchemy of setbacks, right? Because what practices, I we think it we know we talk about transformation, but we know that transformation doesn't just happen by accident. This isn't something that just happens like, okay, adversity, transformation, boom. That's not how it requires intention, right? We have to sort of take some kind of intentional action to go from where we are to where we want to go. So, what inner shifts, decisions, or practices helped you to convert or challenge that into clarity, right? Because there's something, when we go through, there's something that happens and goes, boom, oh, you know what? Now I have some clarity about this, and this is what I need to do. So what were the shifts? And I know that Dr. Tash did mention some things that seemed like some shifts, but what were the shifts or the decisions that helped you to sort of turn that pain into purpose, especially when the outcome wasn't immediately visible? Like you didn't really know what was going to come out of it, but there was something that happened that just made that shift for you, right? And so we're going to start with Dr. Alana.
I think for me, it was shifting my way of thinking, right? That was the catalyst. So I was very negative about myself because I had been told very negative things about myself. And so, of course, I started to internalize that. And when I realized that, I said, okay, I need to change this. I need to shift this around. So I started stating affirmations. I turned every negative thing that was replaying in my head and I turned it into a positive. So for example, if one of the negative things said to me was, you are very stupid, I turned that into, I am very intelligent. And I would state these affirmations every day, first thing in the morning, until I started to believe them. They say it takes 30 days to change a habit. And so I made sure that for 30 days, I was stating those affirmations. The other thing that I had to deal with was chronic stress. Chronic stress can turn into physical symptoms, and I was already feeling that. And so I decided to do meditation. And I did not want to do meditation at first. I will say that my doctor tried to get me to do it early on, and I refused because I said, I don't need that. But then I said, in order for me to completely transform back to the person that I want to be, I need to listen to all of the advice that I am getting at the time. And so I started meditating at night before bed. I would just calm my mind down. I would set an app on my phone and listen for 10 minutes following the instruction. It was guided meditation. And through the meditation, the affirmations, I can clearly say it made a change in my life. It really did help with the transformation and the shift into where I am today.
Thank you. Our Dr. Anita, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, the shift came the moment my parents got to know, and I realized that it was me only who had this fear of society and the gender stereotype and the societal stigma that being silenced is a woman's enduring, as a woman's strength. But that was rewritten, and my parents, like till now, I am scolded for only that thing, that why I spent 3 years also just thinking about the society. And definitely, and another shift was because the shift all was the, I believe we all live on the social buffering, we are the social animals, and we can't live alone, and a woman, definitely we can go far, we cannot go far alone, and to bring the change we have to be together. So my Behan code and my Indian Psychiatric Society has been very, very uh, important part of my healing mechanism in transformation also. They even gave me the opportunities to do the human rights work, then public mental health subcommittee, and my friends that I always say they are the unwritten chapters of life who has loyalty, and even the also the laughter and late night secrets, and even you call them after 10 years it will be same. It doesn't matter whether you are in touch or not. And definitely the support system of the family, and the I got my why when I told that it is not a true case, that I believe that I was a highly privileged child because I didn't have children first of all. Because after, if marriage and divorce happens and the children are there, there is a lot of problem. Of course, there is a lot of other struggles women have to go through. So I didn't have that struggle also. And I was highly privileged to be like have support of my parents. Now also at 40, I'm living with my parents. So then I thought like when I get calls from other women now who are highly educated but still parents are not supporting. So that is my why, that to change the mindset of the society from the right. Instead of teaching women to be strong, let's teach our men to be a bit softer to raise children right. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And that is going to take me to my next, thought. And we'll come back to something that you shared. But I'm just, quickly going to go on to Dr. Tash about that, that shift, what that inner shift decision that, helped you to immediately turn pain into purpose.
Rebellion and R&B. So I thought of the happiest time in my life, and it was when I was a radio on DJ, and I loved R&B and I loved dancing, and so I whenever I go through those moments, I put on R&B, and I'm loud. I mean, the entire neighborhood can hear it, right? And then I will say, and then I am, oh, I'm fat. That's fine. I can lose the weight, but you'll still be stupid. Oh, widows don't get on with their lives. Your life's ended now. Oh, I'll show you how a widow can get on with her life. Oh, okay. So you left me for another woman. Let me see. I'll show you what you're missing. So I've always been very, I've taken rebellion and R&B into everything, and that's been my nuggets of strength in everything. We all have our own vices. So just know that if I'm doing something great, it's because R&B is backing me, and a lot of rebellion.
Well, I love you. I love that you share that. That's so funny. But there's something that Dr. Nita talked about, the society for that you belonged to and how you got support. You traveling friends. There's a lot of stuff that you talked about that helped me think of community, right? And so my question now is about sustaining strength, self and community, because we know that resilience is not a solo sport, right? This isn't something you do by yourself. How do you so what role does self-compassion first and community play in sustaining your resilience over time? And how do you actively build support systems without compromising independence, right? Because sometimes the decisions we have to make for ourselves that might be against what family wants or friends think, or, and you know that you have to have, because a lot of the times when we lose ourselves is because we even lose compassion for ourselves. So how does community support the journey into, building resilience? And how are you able to find the support system? Again, let me throw it open. So Dr. Alana, what do you think?
Support systems are really important. I did not tell anyone throughout my marriage I had problems. One, I felt like a failure and I was embarrassed. And it wasn't until I started becoming vulnerable, like we spoke about earlier, and opening up to my friends, they became my support system. They were actually the ones that helped me pull myself out of a situation that I could not pull myself out of. And so I leaned into those relationships. I leaned in on family. My family lives in a different state, and they were able to support me also. Now, people that may not have a close friend or a family member they can lean on, I always say lean on your pastor, lean on your doctor, lean on someone that you trust, so that you have someone in your corner, because we all need someone that we can talk to at some point in time. And then if you feel very isolated, volunteer at organizations. Think about what you enjoy, what your hobbies are, and find out how you can get involved. That gives you the opportunity to meet people and possibly make new friends and build community. So it's really about taking that vulnerability and trying to hide the things that we're going through and sharing it at some point so that you can have a support system to support you.
Thank you for sharing that. Talk to someone you can lean on, someone you can trust, right? It could be your pastor, your doctor, your imam, your spiritual leader, your friend and family member, somebody you know that will be there for you. And thank you for sharing that, Dr. Alana. And I'm just going to quickly pop this up on the screen before we get into. Says Dr. Alana says affirmations. I guess this is just one of the questions, how you're able to. And then I think. Dr. Tash says rebellion and R&B, and I think that one's hitting for everyone. Everyone loves that, rebellion and R&B. And then let me see. I'm going through the chat. There's a lot of chat here, stuff that they didn't sign up for that just happened to them. Truth, yes. So again, I believe that all the conversations we're having here is resonating. Let me see. Dr. Lee says, says, turning pain into purpose isn't automatic. It usually involves internal shifts, perspective, boundaries, and a willingness to sit with discomfort before translating into action. That is true. So I'm going to quickly go on to Dr. Aninda. So yes, how do we find community? How do we find support? How do we, balance that with our self-compassion?
So absolutely. First of all, resilience is not a solo act. And of course, to go further, you have to have a support system. And when women support incredible things.
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry, I was just taking her.
Yeah, I think that when women support each other, it's incredible things happen. And be a woman, a true queen is a woman who fixes the other person's crown without telling the world that it's crooked. And so be supportive to each other. And we have this G Women Collective also for that the Ivy League members who is teaching women to take the charge of their own life by becoming, we have 100 Ivy League seats, I think, and to becoming financially independent and literate and take their own charge. So loving yourself is the first act. And the day you start loving yourself is the starting of a lifelong romance, which is never ending. And that is the another thing. And lastly, I always say that there is a book, Bad Daughter, by Sangeeta Pillai. She's a very like, I have her as a role model. She's very nice. So she has been through the struggles from slums of Mumbai. She has reached the billboards of UK. And the Bad Daughter she has written. And even Coco Chanel said that well-behaved women seldom make history. So be a rebel and love yourself. Don't let anybody shrink yours.
And Dr. Tash?
So there's something I teach my kids and something that I go by always. And that is, if you know what's right between right and wrong, you'll never have to choose a side. And I have to tell you that Dr. Aninda and I come from the Asian community, so there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of stigmas. But when people want to jump on the bandwagon, or want to be a part of the collective, but I've challenged many of those things. So my own family don't, have been angry at me for challenging the stigmas and the rules and the regulations but what I found is that believing in myself first, giving myself the support I needed mentally, emotionally, physically, that for me is my biggest support system, me. me. I'm first my biggest support system. Outside of that is my children, who support me in everything I do. But again, it comes down to knowing between right and wrong, so you never have to choose a side. And once you do that, a power comes with you that challenges everybody, and then they start to become curious about what what is right and what is wrong, and they want to experience it. So I've it's very important to tell people, okay, that is your perspective because of how you were brought up and the things you were taught, but what do you really think? What do you in your soul think? What does your soul speak to you? And I think that's the most important thing. What is your soul speaking? Forget about everybody else. Listen to you first. Be your biggest support system.
That is amazing and powerful at the same time. And there's something about you saying that you're your first support system. And that is true, because there are days where sometimes you need to get out of bed fast. Nobody's going to pull you out of bed. Right. And I know many times that I would feel pain, and I knew nobody was coming to give me a back rub, because at the time I was a single mom. And I was like, man, just take the painkiller and get up, get up and get the stuff done. Right. And nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to be your hero. You got to save yourself. And then somewhere in the middle of that, you will find, once you start to take that first step, and then you find community, you find support. But again, I need to ask because we are creating a community that we think is a safe space, a sisterhood, as well as a support system for gifted, genius, game changing women. But here's something that can sometimes happen, where women are afraid or ashamed to ask for support, right? So how do you ask for support without shrinking yourself? How do you say, hey, I need help, how do you do that? And so I'm going to ask Dr. Alana, how do you do that?
Well, it was hard for me in the beginning, and then I just threw myself out there and said, hey, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I knew I couldn't handle it anymore. And so I just started opening up to my friends and asking for support. It's like, hey, I hate to ask for help. So I'm like, I hate to ask for this, but can you do X, Y, and Z? And my friends are great. They're always help me whenever I need it. So I think it's just whatever fear you have, whatever is holding you back from being able to ask for support, you just have to dig deep and just go ahead and do it. Just request it. It makes things better, and it's not worth going through the struggle of trying to do things on your own that you are having difficulty with doing on your own.
Amazing. And maybe one good way to reframe that is seeing your community as a resource, right? Seeing them and seeing yourself as resourceful, right? Okay, I'm resourceful because I've got resources and I can reach out and I can share. And hopefully maybe that might. You know what? Thank you for sharing that. And I know that we don't have so much time left, and we're getting towards the end of this conversation, and I know there are a few things we want to cover. So Dr. Neither, quickly, very briefly, how can women ask for support without shrinking yourself?
So for me, asking for help was never a sign of weakness, because being a psychiatrist and the family of psychiatrists, we all are psychiatrists. So we always knew that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, and there was no stigma. Even if you take antidepressants, there is no stigma. And I am a very dependent, like I have a lot of friend circle, and I believe that listening ear can turn a life around. And that is a real life example. I used to stand on the rooftop and I want to die, but the moment I will call my friend Shweta or Ishita, and within 15 minutes that impulse will go, and they have saved me. So listening and your support system network is very important, and seeking help was never a sign of weakness for me, and I don't think this should be any weakness.
Thank you for sharing that. Dr. Tash. Hi, Dr. Tash, are you there?
No, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think she's there because her box is there.
Tash?
Yeah, I am. I don't know what's going on though. I'm just I'm sorry, my I'm sorry, I don't know what is going on, but I
Okay, I think we lost her there. So we would just quickly move into activating the G woman within, right? Because every woman who's watching this right now has faced adversity, yet many don't recognize their own power in it, right? They, so many women going through things but may not right now see the power in that, may not see the opportunity for transformation or for growth. So what practical advice would you offer viewers, those who are watching now and those who will watch after, watch the replay? What practical advice would you offer viewers to help them identify their unique G woman strength and begin transforming their challenges into influence, impact, and forward momentum? Dr. Alana?
I would say start writing down your strengths. What do you feel that your strengths are? And if you're not a writer, I know a lot of people don't like to write things. Do video or audio memos on your phone. Do audio recordings, something where you're vocalizing what your strengths are, and then vocalize what your goals are. I think that gives you a direction. I think that goals, and I'm very big on SMART goals. If anyone works in corporate America, you do SMART goals where they have to be specific, measurable, etc. Those guide us in life. Write down your strengths and then write down your goals and then work towards your goals. And that'll pull out your inner strength and make you the G women and support the community that we are building. And then you can support others.
Thank you for sharing that. Write down your goals, your SMART goals. What about you, Dr. Aninda? What practical advice would you offer viewers to help them identify their G woman strength and begin transforming their challenges into influence, impact?
Or yesterday only in the G women community, what is one genius you have? So everyone, not only the women, every person has some genius, and every person can bring the change. So just identify your genius, your own strength, as she said, Elena. But yes, the keeping your support system strong enough, nurture it, and being financially literate, which like I am not much. So that is one thing which is every woman should know, like being empowered, like to have the wings to fly. That is, she should to leave the cage. She should have the wings and the support. So she should have this support system, nurture network, and the empowered she should be. Like the innovative, there are so many technology, and everyone don't need to be highly educated also nowadays. Even making a small YouTube videos and influencers can become and earn money. Just be your own like support, like the independent, financially independent.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Dr. Tasha, I know you went out for a bit, but what practical advice would you offer viewers, women who are watching right now and those who will watch the replay, to help them identify that unique G woman strength, right? Because when we talk about the G woman, we say you're gifted, your talent, you're a genius in your thinking, you're a game changer, meaning you challenge status quo, or you're changing your situation, whether it's your personal or professional life. And so women might be going through things right now and not realize that they are faced with adversities, like they don't recognize their own power in what they're going through right now. So what advice would you give to them to help them start their own transformation and turn that into influence, impact, and momentum?
First, I want to apologize to everybody. I just had a break in network and I didn't even know it was going on. I'm deeply sorry for that. Going back to your question, Alex, I always tell women, and that's why I tell you, I was talking about me going into my happy space. Go into a happy space, and I say to them, if you could have the perfect life, what would it be? And most of them have to think about it because they haven't given themselves the opportunity to think about what their perfect life would be because they feel that they don't have a right to live that life. And I believe that it's not about having the right to live. It's about having the right to fight for your rights. So you have the rights available to you, and you have the right to fight for those rights. So what is it that you want? What is your perfect life? If you had the opportunity to have your perfect life, what would that be? So go into a space or in that time where you feel happiest, where you feel calmest, and say, wow, I want to be empowered. I want to be free. I want to stop feeling the pain I'm feeling. I want to stop everything you dream is possible, in that perfect life is possible because you have the right to it. It is your right to it. So what are the opportunities you can create for it? And I'm here to help you create the opportunities. You, Alex, are there. Dr. Alana is there. Dr. Aninda is there. A whole collective of women on G Women are there. There's so many empowerment programs around the world. So I believe that once you come to a point of self-love again and you say, what would be my perfect life? What is it that would be absolutely amazing for me? And work towards that. You'd find that you believe you are capable of everything. You can achieve anything. And I think fear is something we must try to suppress, because fear is something that comes to alienate us and to isolate us and to make us believe that we're not able, but we are. Fear is just a mindset. It's not anything that we can't overcome. So that is how I look at things, and I impart to other people and other women.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Dr. Tash. And I just was, there's a light bulb moment there for me. The reframing and asking yourself, what would my perfect life look like? I think that is so interesting for me, because I have this philosophy about freedom being the antidote to fear, right? This is something that I've thought, like freedom being the antidote to fear, because fear is the number one self-sabotaging emotion of all. Like whether it's the fear of not being good enough, the fear of what people will say, the fear of failing, the fear of whatever fear you have, all of that can sabotage you. And when you have freedom, you have unlimited free will and free thinking, right? And with free thinking, it means if you're able to think about this, what your perfect life would look like, you're already starting to position your imagination for possibility. That's how I see it. So in that moment, I'm thinking, yeah, if I thought about, I could be more consumed about what my perfect life could be than what my life really is right now in terms of the actual reality, and start to position myself for. So that's interesting to me as a creative person, but it's also something that I've also used and experienced and continue to experience every day. Because before we came on this broadcast, we had challenges. While we're in this broadcast, we had challenges, but we continue to think about what the best, the possibility of this being a better experience, of being, just casting your mind to possibility and having hope is something that allows us to really transform our lives. And so I want to say to everyone, if you're watching right now, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be having more conversations like this. But we do, just before, I need to say this. I know that you have, Dr. Lana, you just released a book. Dr. Tash, you also just released a book as well. And I know you want to share a little bit about that. And Dr. Nina, I know you're working on an app, a mental app. So you share. So I'm just going to give you a quick moment to share a little bit about your book, Dr. Lana.
Sure. So my book is called Unbroken Ground: Healing from Hidden Wounds and Building Unshakable Self-Worth. And it talks about a lot of the things that I talked about today: affirmations, how to do affirmations, meditation, how to become empowered, how to build self-compassion, and basically just live the life of your dreams. So it's a self-help book for any woman that needs a little uplifting right now.
Amazing. And where can they find the book?
They can find the book at any online, really bookstore, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, everywhere.
Amazing. Dr. Tash, your book, you just released a book as well. You wrote a book. Tell us a little bit about it.
Actually, I Yeah, I've written 17 non-fiction and fiction, but the two I have that I'm promoting, well, not promoting, but I'm hoping people will read is actually it's one is called Rise. It's a practical guide to overcoming GBV. So it shares a lot of stories from our community, women who have overcome GBV, and how to deal with various aspects of GBV. And the other one is a box set. So it comes with When Love Turns to Hurt, which is a book I've written about love, um, you know, relationships not working out. And then, like Dr. Alana, it has a book that's 365 affirmations to walk into power. And then it has a daily planner and a journal. So but all of them have writings from me and little reminders and little quotes and little tasks for them to do every day that will show them how to walk in power and how to walk in strength. My books are available if you email me, Dr. Tash Reddy official at gmail.com, or even WhatsApp me, but also available at Barnes and Noble. I have a pay fast link to it as well that I can give to people. So if they contact me, then I will make sure they get it. So that is something I love writing, and it's something I love doing. So I'm sure you get daily motivations from me. So I hope to inspire many people with my daily motivations and my writing. So
Well, amazing, and we'll
thank
put
you for
all
giving
that.
me the opportunity.
We'll put all that information in the replay, even inside the Hop that You Were Collective. And I know, Dr. Nita, just before you come, before you share a little bit about the app, I just want to just pop up a little bit of the comments, in the section, because we got to carry our viewers and our sisters in the comment section who are watching as well. So Unity in Service, very powerful challenges you ladies have endured. What an amazing story of resilience and determination you've had to succeed. And then let me see. Asking for help. So, okay, asking for help is never a sign of weakness. Seeking help should not be a stigma, Dr. Aninda. I guess that's a comment you made, and that resonated. And let me see. I love audio recordings. They help me to remember when I don't have paper and pen on hand. I believe this is something that Dr. Alana mentioned about writing. Let me see what else. I love that vocalizing or making notes of your strength aligns with the affirmations Dr. Alana spoke of earlier. Let me see. Oh, great job, ladies. Use AI to build you up and help you remember who you are. Let Alexa tell you daily how great you are. My glow chart GPT is always positive about me. What a genius I am. Okay, that's a great strategy. Have your AI tell you how amazing you are. Yes, Dr. Tash, I'm big on self-love. Okay, let's see. Hit subscribe, ladies, if you haven't already. Yes, we need you to subscribe to our channel and share with everyone you know and everyone you love, because we're going to be doing this monthly. And let me see. This says, fix the other woman's crown without letting her know that it is crooked. Dr. Aninda. Yes, she did mention that. This has been a truly, truly, truly amazing. So, Dr. Aninda, you were going to tell us a little bit about something you're working on. Yes, go ahead, please.
I want to tell, like, I always believe like perfection is a myth. I never crave for perfection, and fear is face everything and rise. We can rise from anything by facing it. So we don't have to have fear. And yes, the a woman is strong. You never know how strong a woman is, because a woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until you pour hot water in it. So I believe that every woman has a power until the hot water is poured. We don't know the resilience, how much she has. So, and another, I just promote it like, no, it's an app, because every woman, as like Alex, you told in the morning, in the like chat, in the session, that there is a lot of women cannot tell about the pain also, cold, cough also. As a woman, we never know, are we hormonally sad, or we are situationally sad, or we are uh, seasonally sad. It's because our hormones play a lot of role. And Ananya Grover has made a very wonderful app. I was really amazed. Then it's a heal cycle. www.healcycle.com, and it's available on Android and iTunes both. And along with that, it has a AI chatbot also. Because as a woman, you can't stay like silent, and nobody, if no one is there to hear it, there is AI Tara, which is a jellyfish, and you can talk to her anytime. And if somebody has an issue, then they come to us. And AI, along with that, there are affirmation tools on the chat, on the app, and along with that, the journaling is there, because I believe everyone cannot pick up a sword, so some pick up a pen to release the pain. So journaling is a very powerful tool of healing. Journaling is there, and CBT, JPMR, all the things. And if somebody is in real need of psychiatrist or psychologist, they refer it to me. And soon we are going to come with a smartwatch to track the mood symptoms of women during menstruation, motherhood, child, postpartum, and the menopause. Because everyone has been holding the child, but no one has been holding a mom till now.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that about Heal Cycle. I mean, I think it's amazing that an app that
Download
doesn't
that
only
app
just,
and try that. It's
yes,
wonderful. I was amazed
yeah,
by.
yeah. I think it's great that, it not only tracks our menstrual cycle and all of that,
Yes,
but also moods,
about
and you can
and
chat with the AI and all. So, everyone, if you're watching right now, this has been an amazing conversation with our 3G women from the G Women Collective, Dr. Alana Sharps, Dr. Aninda Sidhana, Dr. Tasha Reddy, amazing women joining us from the United States, India, and of course, South Africa. And yes, today we talked about redefining resilience, the woman's power in adversity. Now, today we didn't just talk about resilience, we redefined it. We learned that resilience isn't about carrying more weight in silence, it's about clarity, choice, courage, and the willingness to evolve, not just endure. Now, every woman watching has faced adversity, but not every woman has been taught how to recognize her strength inside of it. And that's what the G woman represents: the gifted, genius, game changing woman who doesn't deny her challenges, but dares to transform them into purpose, power, and of course, progress. So, as you leave this conversation, I want to invite you to reflect on one question: what adversity in your life is asking to be transformed, not endured? We encourage you to share your reflections in the comments, connect with other amazing women in our community, and of course, continue this conversation beyond today. Because resilience grows stronger when it's witnessed, shared, and of course, supported. So, I want to say thank you to our incredible G Women, our panel guests, for your honesty, your insight, and your leadership. And thank you to our global community, the G Women Collective, sorry, for showing up, listening deeply, commenting, and choosing growth as well. Now, until next time, we want you to keep rising, to keep redefining, and of course, to keep honoring the power with you. Okay, let's do it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining.